Hello, third year students. This is a video discussion about rubrics. So rubrics are useful tools that help teachers make consistent judgments about the quality of learners' work. So it's a scoring guide usually presented in graphic format, so typically as a grid. Okay, it is presented in tables and it defines what is expected in a learning situation. So it gives meaning to learners' level of performance on authentic assessment tasks. So since we are or you are tasked to create um, performance task using the GRASS model, then you are supposed to be making a rubric, which includes free response questions, science and math investigations, survey, interview reports, oral, slide presentations, essays, reflections, journals, article reviews or reactions, performance test, or skills demonstrations. So it's very difficult to be just putting, you will say, okay, perfect of 50 is the total perfect score. So how will the students get that 50, a perfect score of 50? How are you going to, what are the components of the 50 score? So rubrics are usually shared with learners to give them an opportunity to discuss the criteria to be used for an activity before they perform it. Each level of performance in a rubric has a criterion or description and allows for objective scoring of summative and formative assessments, and the result can be used to provide feedback to learners. So when I was teaching computer in the high school department, I was asked to, there was a lesson about creating the website. So, what is expected of them with the HTML program or software, whatever you call it? So, how will they be rated with the activity that you ask of them? So, it is very important that it should be given prior to the activity so that they will know what are expected of them and what they need to work on so that they will be able to get at least the goal is to get the perfect score. So rubric answers three questions. What do we want learners to know and be able to do? And how well do we want learners to know and be able to apply or use a skill in a concept? And how will teachers and other scorers know when a learner knows a concept and does an activity well? So it will also be very important when the parents of your pupils and your students will be asking, Miss, Madam, Sir, why is it that the score of my daughter is only this and not this? So you have to bring that scoring rubrics and you have to point out which areas your or their child is having difficulty or was not able to accomplish. So the rubrics are very important, and in the rubrics it's important also to have the comments so that you can remember also what are the areas that the student needs to work on. So measuring learners' performance. As you assess, you should record evidence of how well each learner has demonstrated each criterion, and you can record evidence of your learners' achievements in two ways. So we have qualitative, which where learners' performance can be described using the following rating scales or levels. So pwede siya kini proficient, adequate, and limited. Or you can have exemplary, good, satisfactory, needs improvement. Or you can have distinguished, proficient, apprentice, novice, or you can have fully correct answer, partially correct answer, wrong answer, no answer. Usually used for open-ended questions or possibles that in math you can have this. So you can have this label and later you can quantify them and put values. So such as this one, so the numerical scale that's used to describe the levels of performance. It may also be used as points to represent the weights assigned to specific aspects of a learner's work. So quantitative measures can combine with qualitative measures using a range of points. So kini imuha ra kay tulo ra imuhang kaning kuan scale, exemplary, satisfactory, needs improvement. So unsa man nato paghibaw nga kanang kuan unsay score niya. So 8 to 10, man siya imong exemplary, 4 to 7 satisfactory, and below 3 needs improvement. Pero my comment here is unsa man nimo pagkaybaw nga 8 na siya, nga dili 9, nga dili 10. That's the question there. So it's also very important to put description in each of these levels. Next is advantages of using rubrics. So for learners, a rubric defines the often mysterious grade at the end of a unit, so project, paper, or presentation. So it always gives insights and directions about what is important about an activity. Diba? When you were a student, makaana ka nga, how do you think my teacher rated me in this dance presentation? Giunsa ka niya, unsa kay basis niya. So nganong kuan man, nganong it's only 90 over 100. Why only 85 over 100? Why not 95 over 100 or 100 over 100, right? So that's how rubrics came about. So for teachers, rubrics allow assessments to be more objective and consistent because the criteria are in specific terms, and it clearly shows learners how their work will be evaluated and what they can expect from this. It promotes learners' awareness of the criteria to use in assessing their peers' performance and provide useful feedback regarding the effectiveness of instruction and provide benchmarks against which to measure and document progress. So there are types of rubric. The two predominant types of rubric are compared below. So na siya duha ka buok, holistic and analytical. So holistic emphasizes the relation between parts and whole, while analytical will be whole output broken up or separated in parts and scored accordingly. So let's have more description for these two types of rubric. So holistic, it assesses learners' work as a whole using criteria, so proficient, adequate, limited to describe the whole output based on analysis of parts. Well, analytic, it assesses components of a finished product. So mas specific siya. So holistic does not list separate levels of performances for each criterion, while analytic, it articulates levels of performances for each criterion. Uh, for holistic, it provides a single overall score, but does not communicate information about what learners are to do to improve. So, wala siya component as to which part he needs to work on. Gives diagnostic information to the teacher and formative feedback to the learners. So, these are examples of analytic rubric. So, na siya description on top. This is for investigatory project. So you have the problem statement, hypothesis, design materials collection, and there are descriptions in each kung anong excellent siya, anong satisfactory, anong fair, anong poor for each area or criteria. And this is a continuation for that one because this is for science investigatory project. So this is how holistic rating, holistic rubric. So as you can see here, you just have the 10, the 6, and the 3. Nara siya ka ng criterion here and the description on this part here. So very vague rin siya. This one is an analytic rubric for an open-ended question. This is released TIMS of 1999 item. So from TIMS ni siya nga rubric. Rubric construction, many of the teachers already skilled in developing and using rubrics to assess and give feedback on their learners' work, and these are the things that you need to take into consideration in constructing rubrics. So since you are still neophyte, new to this, then you have to consider this one. Determine the learning outcomes or the competency. Are you assessing processes or products? So lahat man ang process, like I said, ang products, right? So decide on structure of the rubric. Would you prefer holistic or analytical? And then identify the levels of performance or aspects of the product that reflect the learning outcomes. Weigh the dimension in proportion to their importance. I can remember for number 4, um, my assistant principal would always tell me, nga naman ang neatness, mas dako pa man siya rating kaysa ubang areas. Ang imong competency di ay ni focus highly on neatness? Or dapat bagid ang kanang neatness i-include na? So I have to defend, and I also have to make adjustments. Yes, it is true nga we have to look at into the rubric kung asa gyud siya mo way higher, asa mas dako. You have to go back to the competency where the competency of your lesson. So you give higher point there, kay competency based man ang kuan. There may be other areas that needs or skills or criteria that needs to be assessed, just like the neatness. I defended on the neatness on graphing, equations, graphing functions, because as per experience, students would usually put some kanang magkaras-karas sa ilahang graphing paper ba. So it's really difficult to be checking when the output is really messy. So I defended that neatness should be there, but I can lower the assigned point for that particular criterion. So neatness is also important in math, not just in product-based nga mga output. And then determine the range of points to be allocated to each level of performance. So these are examples of rubric that I have gotten in adapted order, and so it's an official document made by experts. You can actually pattern some of your rubric here if you feel that there are some criteria that you can make use in your in the rubric that you will be crafting for task 2. So this is actually a self-assessment form. I actually like how this is being crafted because as a math teacher, I really go for numbers, diba? So I would always use like ranges of items that can be seen there. So kanya, this is how I usually craft my rubric. But again, it's all up to you how you are going to make it. But I'll be commenting also on how you phrase the statements in your rubric. This one is a rubric. I'm sorry, it's very cute. A rubric for oral poetry presentation. So as you can see here, na comments or feedback na siya, importante gina siya in your rubric na sa ubos. You have also to put your comment para something to read ba for the students. Part of the feedbacking man na siya when you return the rubric paper. Of course, when I have performance based activities in my computer class before, I distribute this one and I ask my students to put their names on top their section, and of course their grade level and the dates. And then when the next meeting, I'll be distributing the rubric paper for them to go over it and how they fare with the performance task. This one sa Filipino. Uh, Magaling, magkatamtamang galing, nangangailangan ng pagsasanay. So, you can pattern some of this if you prefer to have the Filipino subject for the BE Ed students. So I think that would be all for today's video lesson. So I hope that this video will be helpful to you in crafting your task too. Thank you so much and have a good day.